Ready.
Yeah, exactly. And Payton Thorne, Michigan State quarterback, who very surprisingly, apparently to the coaching staff, jumped into the portal this week, is on his way, or last week, on his way to Auburn. This is not a shock. Of the quarterbacks in the portal, you knew that Auburn, Florida, they were going to try to get at some of the best ones. He's probably... he's more accomplished than Tyler Buckner stats-wise. Potential-wise, I don't know, because you're talking about a redshirt senior here. But Payton Thorne brings some experience to Auburn. He and Robbie Ashford will essentially battle out for the starting job in the fall, and we'll see there. But I would think that he's probably got a leg up, because the fact that they even went for him tells me that how Hugh Freeze feels about his quarterbacks.
Yeah, clearly there was not something completely settled there, heading out of spring ball, and it was pretty out there that they were one of those teams that's still looking for, at the very minimum, some depth in that quarterback room, but also, somebody come up and grab the starting job if you want to. This is an interesting move. Obviously, there's still going to be some further competition, and Robbie Ashford, and he will duke it out to determine who's going to be eventually, lacing him up for the Tigers as QB1. But this is, I guess, as about as solid of a move as you could expect. I don't get super excited about this, but I do like that he's got tons of experience. He's played in a lot of games. He's played in the Big Ten, thrown for a lot of yards and all of that. So he's not a blank canvas by any means, and somebody with some tools that you can work with, but he's also not somebody necessarily that you're like, all right, that's it, Auburn's winning the West this year. So it's a little bit in the middle for me, hey, you got a guy, you got some issues addressed, but there will probably be some other issues that still remain or come with that, and, we'll see how they navigate those. And who the heck knows, quite frankly, what the next 4 months hold as far as any roster goes. I know there's certain rules and whatnot, but it seems like maybe they've answered their quarterback question for the time being, and we'll see how others now do that as well. But, yeah, I'm interested in – not blown away, but it's an interesting move.
Yeah, nobody's doing a roster overhaul like Dion is, but especially first. Sure. I can't imagine what it'd be like to cover that. Covering recruiting is hard enough.
Well, who's the one guy? Brian Howe?
Yeah.
Brian Howe, who we've had on a few times. I don't know what his Twitter follower count. I know I just talked about. I don't care about that. I don't, but I would imagine his has probably seen some stock rising over the last 2 or 3 months. You think he's probably doubled his following, given the amount of just information pouring out of that program on what seems like a daily basis? It's a lot going on there for sure.
Yeah, I don't know how you can, every transfer is essentially in the water for them, where Baylor has one spot open. So there's maybe a max of 5 guys that are in the water for them realistically right now, maybe more, but they're not going to fill one spot. They're not going to talk to 25 people.
Right. Yeah.
They're going to talk to probably 5 or less at first. And then if they keep getting no's, then you have to keep going on. But if they've got one available and they want a transfer, you're not going to talk to 25 people. Colorado has 50 scholarships available right now. So they need to talk to at least 100 people. If not more, they're in the portal. And so the more, you're going to catch fish, and they're going to fill the roster.
100 guys out there to go.
But are they worth it? They might get 10 guys who are going to make them better, and then they should be trading out people this first year.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of theories on how it's going to work. I'm just going to be boring and rational and just let it play out here these next few weeks and see what that roster eventually looks like, because it's way too incomplete to really have any sort of a real opinion on what to expect. There's just far too many questions at the moment, but it's exciting if you're a Colorado fan. It's been kind of ho-hum around there for the last little bit, and you have some juice flowing through that program, and it's a very unique brand that they're sipping on right now that could potentially be the next wave and big cool thing in college football, or it could be a disastrous mess when all is said and done. There's just as much of a chance one way or the other, depending on how, they, again, rework the roster and perform this season and moving forward. But, Brian Howell's been very busy, as a lot of other Colorado Buffaloes reporters, but I would think that makes it exciting for the fans because, we see it guys into the transfer portal, and there might be those occasional guys that you're bummed about. You're like, oh man, you see a little bit of an outpouring of like, oh shoot, I wish that Michael would have stayed or whatever. But most of the time, you're like, all right, see ya, who's next? And so they're getting like 50 doses of who's next coming off of a season where the guys who are leaving, for the most part, are people that seem like they're ready to let him go. I know there's been a couple, though, that are like, no, those are actually guys that wasn't a Dion thing. That was a them thing, and that might be a little bit of a loss. But, yeah, it's been rapid fire and just craziness out there. I can't even imagine.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, Garrett.
So, yeah, Payton Thorne, I would be curious to know, like, was he going to win the Michigan State starting job?
I mean, I think that was starting to come into question.
I guess so.
Noah
go ahead and make that jump.
Yeah, Noah Kim had kind of closed the gap on him.
So I'd assume he's got more of a sure thing now. With that in mind.
Yeah, I would think so. But it was, I mean, according to reports, the coaching staff was a little bit surprised that he decided to do it. So, and that might be an NIL thing.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, that's it's any number of possibilities, I suppose. But I knew that he was in the race for that. So I guess, maybe he got an indication, or maybe it didn't matter. Maybe it wouldn't have mattered if they were like, no, dude, you're 51-49 in the lead right now. He just felt like, nope, it'd be better to go to Auburn and probably be the starter there and make some NIL money and play for Hugh Freeze, who's a great quarterbacks coach, great offensive mind. So, yeah, that's an interesting move. But I guess both Alabama and Auburn, got guys, but it's not at all what you probably at the outset thought they were going to end up landing, either one of them. I think most people probably had these grand ideas of like, they're going to get some massive, like, huge name and not quite, but, guys who can win some games for you in Tyler Buckner and Payton Thorne. So we'll see.
Yep. All right. So